something about an article that I read. There's this YouTube channel that now got deleted, but it's called The Last American Vagabond. And the guy's name is Ryan Christian. And he talks mostly about government cover-ups, the whole coronavirus fraud, the masks, now the vaccines, the PCR tests. Like, he's been doing nothing just about the coronavirus. I started watching him just recently because of the coronavirus stuff. But he also just talks about, he's also talks about, how the whole two-party system is an illusion. It really opened my eyes, especially, after this last election. And then here in Israel with the way the virus, the lockdowns and everything, nobody was speaking up against it, on the left or the right, really. And so I really agreed with him, on a lot of things. Sometimes he kind of goes a little bit too far, I feel, and he puts stuff out there without really knowing if it's true or not, but he does say that he doesn't know for sure. He's just asking questions, which I feel is pretty honest. But then he has these interviews with this Robert Inlakesh about the whole Palestinian-Israel issue. And I was very surprised when I first watched it that it was just very one-sided. It was pro-Palestinian. This dude, Robert Inlakesh, he's like a human rights activist / reporter. And apparently he has been here in Israel documenting what goes on and stuff. But obviously it's all on the Palestinian side. And I'm just going to... I really hate to use the word Palestinian because it's a false name, so I'm just going to refer to them as Arabs. But so I was really offended and shocked when I watched the first video about this. I was like, what? And so I was confused because this dude Ryan on this channel, I felt like, his moniker or whatever is question everything, and he doesn't seem to question anything about what is going on, what this Robert Inlakesh is telling him. He totally agrees with him. He doesn't, they know, they seem to know what the other side says, and then they just say, well, that's a lie. And without really explaining how it's a lie, they just said, well, that's a lie. And I'm like, it's like, the one I watched was just after Hamas had, just randomly started shooting rockets, and they were justifying it. They were saying that, because there's never really that much damage. Nobody really dies, And I'm like, on what planet is that okay? And yes, there is damage, and people do die because of the rockets, mostly in Sderot and in Ashkelon, in the surrounding areas. And there's the kites, the flaming kites or whatever that they try to send over, and there's farmland that's destroyed. That's something too that nobody should just discount. And I just, I tried to, I would write in the comments, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong, but it's just too much. Everything they say is wrong, everything they say is a lie, everything is just propaganda. And I'm looking at all the comments, and everybody seems to agree with them. And so I was confused because how I seem to agree with everything else this dude says, except for when it comes to the Israeli-Palestinian thing. And and one might say that maybe I have bias because I live here in Israel and I'm a Jew, but that's not really the case. There are times when people get hurt, children get hurt, both Palestinian and Jewish, and it's really an accident. There's no intent involved. the IDF, the soldiers, the government, no one intends to hurt women and children. I mean, it just doesn't even cross our minds. And so that's why, when they, focus only on, oh, they kill children or they jail children or something like that, as if they're just sitting there by themselves, not doing anything, and they're looking for, to abuse people for no reason. That's the standard, thing. And so anyways, so it got me, thinking, why is he, seemingly not questioning any of this, but he questions everything else. And I'm wondering if he's got some bias against Israel. And I don't know, maybe I think he's just biased against any government because of, just things that he knows about what, the intelligence people, the CIA and the Mossad or whatever, do or have done, or, and that's not really part of the equation, though, of the Israeli-Palestinian issue. It's not, doesn't really focus in on anything, but I feel like that is his bias. And so that being said, every time he does a video about the Israel-Palestinian thing, I think, he's going to, say something different, but he never does. And so he finally got his YouTube channel deleted, but not because of the Israeli-Palestinian issue, because of the virus issue and saying stuff about masks and stuff like that, which is, I found really odd. And then so I went to his website to see what he's got going on, and so I read a bunch of articles that he posted about with Robert Inlakesh about the whole Israel situation and things that I hadn't seen online. And so I was reading these articles, and this one article that was by this Robert Inlakesh, it just blew my mind. It was just filled with just all these warlike terms, and it was it was almost like he was talking about almost as if things were happening in Syria, Israel was another Syria, because there's a civil war in Syria, there's, Muslim forces or whatever going against the government. And so he was using those kinds of terms with, again, the occupation, the oppressor, resistance, and just, he was talking about the recent war with Hamas and the rockets, and how Hamas just, blasted Israel and caused all this damage and killed all these people, and how Israel was intentionally focusing on killing civilians in Gaza, and Hamas was trying to attack Israel's military infrastructure and places. It was totally the opposite. And anybody with any brains that has read both sides knows that it's all propaganda, it's all lies. And it really just irritates me because there's no way to counter it, because you can try all day long to talk to people and tell them the facts, and at the end of the day they'll believe what they want to believe, because it's this narrative that is painted it's so much more evoking emotionally, and it's like watching a movie. It's like watching, Braveheart or something like that. You want to root for the people that they feel that they've been wronged or something, and the whole thing is couched in military terms, and it was really actually sickening and disgusting to read that he was actually, romanticizing this whole idea of, the Palestinians rising up, and Arabs, I should say, rising up, and their resolve is getting bigger and bigger, and it makes it sound like, this is all coming from the grassroots, and it's not. the Arabs are being incited. They're being incited by the PA. They're being incited by Hamas. They're being incited by the imams in the mosques. And it's all about Jerusalem. Anytime Hamas or PA wants to stir things up, all they have to do is mention Alaska and Jerusalem is being attacked. The settlers. Well, there's no settlers in Haifa. There's no settlers in Jaffa. There's no settlers in Akko. You know, what do people in those cities have to do with Jerusalem? And basically, I don't even understand how the Arabs themselves get themselves worked up and believe all the hype. Like, and especially with the riots, like, they know they have it good here. They know they have it good here. They know they have it better than their fellow Arabs in Judea and Samaria. They know that. So why? It just defies logic. And this is not going to end well. And I feel like the solution, I know what the solution is, but I want to talk about that in another video. So this video is just talking about this Ryan Christian and his last American Vagabond, and how, you know, he seemingly seems to be compromised because he seems like he's talking truth about one area, but then he's not talking truth about another area. So I'm like, is this like what they call controlled opposition? Is this like some kind of psyop? Is this like, you know, is he working with some kind of agenda? I don't know, but it makes me really question him, question everything. I question Ryan Christian.